On November 6, 2002, a jury in Beverly Hills convicted Winona Ryder of felony grand theft and vandalism for shoplifting over $5,000 worth of clothes. Her sentence was probation, community service, and fines, but no prison time. The real punishment, though, didn't come from the courtroom. It came from completion bond companies, the financial gatekeepers behind studio films, who quietly classified her as uninsurable. 2 years later, a director wrote a lead role for her, but the bonding companies refused to let the film go forward. To understand how that classification destroyed her career, you need to understand how fragile things already were before the theft ever happened. In the mid-90s, Winona Ryder was one of the most respected actresses in Hollywood, with 2 Academy Award nominations before she turned 30, and studio leads opposite Al Pacino, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Richard Gere. She wasn't just famous, she was the actress other actresses were measured against. But by 2000, something had shifted. Her last 2 theatrical leads, Lost Souls and Autumn in New York, underperformed while her offers were drying up. Then, during the filming of Mr. Deeds in 2001, she broke her arm in 3 places while doing a stunt on set, and the heavy painkillers that followed became a problem of their own. She later told Vogue in 2007 the doctor was prescribing a lot, and at first it was to get through the pain. But eventually, she couldn't tell if the pain was still real or if she was just taking the pills. Then, on December 12, 2001, she got arrested outside Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills for shoplifting $5,500 worth of merchandise. None of it would have ended her career, but it made her the perfect target for someone who needed a high-profile conviction. His name is Stephen Cooley. In 2000, Cooley defeated Gil Garcetti in a landslide to become Los Angeles County District Attorney, after Garcetti's tenure had been defined by a string of failed high-profile prosecutions: O.J. Simpson, the Rodney King officers, Charles Keating, and Cooley ran on a promise to win the cases his predecessor couldn't. So when Winona Ryder handed him a case with a celebrity defendant, surveillance footage, and a department store full of evidence, he didn't treat it like a shoplifting case. He treated it like a statement. On February 1, 2002, his office filed 4 felony charges: grand theft, burglary, vandalism, and drug possession, then assigned 8 prosecutors to the case. Dahlia Lithwick later reported in Slate that the office had diverted resources from more serious prosecutions just to make room for the Ryder trial, and that Cooley's office refused Saks' own request to drop the charges, allegedly threatening the store that his office would stop prosecuting Beverly Hills shoplifting if they didn't cooperate. A misdemeanor charge would not have triggered the bonding companies, but felony convictions did. Cooley's political ambition turned a department store theft into 4 felony charges, for a crime the judge would later reclassify as a misdemeanor. And that decision triggered something most people have never heard of: a financial mechanism that locked Winona Ryder out of every studio film in Hollywood. Here's how it works. Every studio film requires a completion bond, a guarantee that the production will be delivered even if something goes wrong. To issue that bond, the company requires every principal actor to be insurable, and if a performer carries a felony conviction or a documented substance history, the bonding company can refuse. And no bond means no financing. No financing means no film. It's not a blacklist with names on a memo, but it works exactly like one. Then, in 2004, Woody Allen proved exactly what that wall could do. He wrote a film called Melinda and Melinda and created the lead for Ryder. He'd cast her before in Celebrity and wanted her back. But when his producers approached the bonding companies, they refused. Allen confirmed this on record in his published conversations with author Eric Lax. The role went to Radha Mitchell, but Ryder wasn't dropped because nobody wanted her. She was dropped because nobody could insure her. And the years that followed told the rest of the story. The woman who had been one of the most in-demand actresses in Hollywood spent the next decade cycling through uncredited cameos, indie films that barely found distribution, and voice work she didn't even have to show up for. Ryder told Harper's Bazaar in 2022 what the industry kept telling her about the work. If you slow down, it's going to stop. And it actually stopped. Then the message changed to, it's going to be impossible to come back. Then, eventually, you're not even part of the conversation. But that same wall hit someone else, someone whose offenses were astronomically worse. Yet he got over it because someone paid to lift him.
When we return to the story of Robert Downey Jr., drugs land the troubled actor in prison, and he reaches out to a psychiatrist for help.
Robert Downey Jr. had multiple felony arrests, had served time in a California state prison, and had been fired from Ally McBeal. Woody Allen wanted him for the same film, Melinda and Melinda, and the bonding companies refused him too. Allen confirmed it in the same passage. But Downey had something Ryder never did: people who were willing to put their own money on the line. Mel Gibson personally underwrote Downey's insurance bond for The Singing Detective in 2003. That same year, Joel Silver, producing Gothica, withheld 40% of Downey's salary until production wrapped as a guarantee against a shutdown. It's not goodwill. It's workarounds that let Downey bypass the bonding companies until his risk profile stabilized. By 2008, he was Iron Man, and at his 2024 Oscar acceptance speech, he thanked his lawyer for trying to get me insured.
My entertainment lawyer, Tom Hansen, of 40 years, the half of which he spent trying to get me insured and bailing me out of the hoosegow.
The insurance wall was real for both of them, but the difference is who had someone on the other side willing to pay. Downey had been to state prison for possession. Ryder had shoplifted $5,000 worth of clothes, but no one wrote a check. Now, the question is, why?
Winona Ryder was arraigned today on an information charging her with grand theft, burglary, felony vandalism, and a drug violation.
The early 2000s tabloid economy didn't just ignore Ryder, it fed on her, and her trial was covered less like a criminal proceeding and more like a runway event, with Robin Givens' Washington Post coverage fixating on her courtroom outfits, specifically a Marc Jacobs dress from the same brand she'd been accused of stealing. That coverage didn't just humiliate her, it made her radioactive in the rooms the bonding companies never even reached. Meanwhile, Charlie Sheen was being arrested in Aspen on Christmas Day, 2009, after his wife alleged he held a knife to her throat, yet he was still earning $1.8 million per episode from 2.5 Men through all of it. The bonding companies that refused to cover Ryder never flagged Sheen. His productions were never pulled. The same mechanism that locked her out didn't even blink at him. However, there's a detail from even earlier that reframes everything that came after. Ryder told Esquire in 2024 that Harvey Weinstein had blacklisted her at Miramax in the 90s after she turned him down during a meeting. So by the time the bonding companies locked the door in 2002, someone had already been pushing it closed, but even playing by every rule couldn't open it again. In March of 2003, barely 3 months after sentencing, Ryder had completed all 480 hours of court-ordered community service at City of Hope. Judge Fox publicly commended her, and by June of 2004, he reduced both felonies to misdemeanors. Her probation ended in December of 2005. She had done everything the system asked, even faster than it asked. And on paper, Winona Ryder had no felony record. But completion bond companies don't issue reinstatement letters. They don't send clearances. The legal system said she'd served her time, but the financial system never got the memo. And for nearly a decade after her record was clean, the wall stayed up. She told Esquire she checked out, went back to San Francisco, and stopped trying to convince people to look past the noise. Because the wall wasn't only financial. When she met with director Michel Gondry about the lead in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, paparazzi surrounded the restaurant before they'd finished their meal, and she could see it in Gondry's face that the circus around her had become the story. The role went to Kate Winslet, and the bonding companies kept her out of the films she was offered, while the tabloid economy kept her out of the rooms where she'd be offered them.
Will, are you here? Okay, good.
Cooley's felony charges against Ryder were reduced to misdemeanors within 2 years. But by then, the damage was done, and he never had to answer for it. He continued to serve as DA until 2012 without ever speaking about the case publicly. The bonding companies never issued a statement either, because they never had to. They don't answer to the public, and nobody in this story was ever held accountable for what happened to Ryder's career. But in 2015, someone finally chose to ignore the wall altogether. David Simon, the creator of The Wire, cast Ryder in HBO's Show Me a Hero. That was the first crack. Months later, casting director Carmen Cuba pitched her to two brothers who had never made a television show, Matt and Ross Duffer, and they said yes immediately. Not because the insurance problem had been resolved, but because their reference point for Winona Ryder wasn't a mugshot from 2001. It was Beetlejuice. Matt Duffer later said her character in Stranger Things wasn't that interesting until they cast Winona. So they rewrote the role around her. The Christmas lights, the desperate mother, all built for her. And that's how the wall finally came down. Not with a statement, not with an apology, but with two people who saw the actress, not the headline. Winona Ryder didn't disappear because Hollywood rejected her. She disappeared because the people who actually decide who works in this industry aren't studios, directors, or audiences. They're insurance underwriters, and their decisions have no appeals process, no public accountability, and no expiration date. Ryder's case proves it, because even after the legal system cleared her, the financial one kept the door shut for another decade. Drop a name in the comments if you think someone else got the same wall.